Don't call me a person. I'm not a person. I'm a woman, not a person. In fact, I get offended when people call me a person because I'm not. I'm a woman. Women aren't people, so don't call me a person. Call me a woman. Hello, this is Jan Ives, and you are watching/listening to my podcast. You know what it's called. It's Lobotomy World. And it is, I think, the hottest day of the year. The last one we did last week, that was a hot episode. And this is an even hotter episode. And I don't just mean because I am looking especially sexy today. I mean because the temperature itself is kind of boiling, and I've had to shut the window because as soon as I started doing this podcast, like a clockwork orange, or a clock even, some person started turning on their drill or their sander or their lawnmower or their chainsaw or whatever the hell it is that you DIY types use, and they started cutting things up. I don't know if you can hear it. You might be able to hear it. You might not. So anyway, I've shut the window, and I think this flat has double glazing, so at least we won't be able to hear probably any of it. But keep in mind that double glazing might be good at keeping sound out, but that means it's also really good at keeping the heat in. Also, I have a light shining on me, which absolutely doesn't help. Stop moaning, Jen. The subscribers, the followers, they don't like it when you moan. They like a happy mummy. Mummy's very happy, actually, and extremely proud of you. Well, shall we talk about the week? Shall we talk about this wild, wacky week? The pollen is up. Warning, pollen alert. There is lots of pollen around in the United Kingdom. Now, if you are like me, an allergy sufferer, you're going to have to make sure you've got some antihistamines or some histamines or a nasal spray or some whatever works for you. You're going to need to make sure that you have it, okay? Because let me tell you, I'm suffering. And can I just for a second just speak my truth for a moment? I am tired, exhausted. I've had it up to here basically with people not acknowledging that hay fever / allergies is a very serious thing. And listen, I'm not talking about all this like, oh, I've got a peanut allergy. If I eat a peanut, I'll die. Because I know that is serious. We all know that that's serious, okay? No one has ever taken into doubt the seriousness of a peanut allergy. I know someone who has a peanut allergy that's so bad, if she even sees a peanut, she needs an EpiPen. My friend, she was doing a spelling test in primary school, a spelling bee, and she had to spell the word peanut. And they said, spell peanut. And she went P, E, A. And then by the time she got to A, her throat had swelled up so big, she looked like a gosh darn bullfrog. So I know that is a serious allergy, okay? I'm aware of that. But people don't hold the pollen allergies, your hay fevers, in as much of a high regard. I think if I'm having a particularly bad hay fever day, I should be allowed to not go to work. I should be allowed to be given free medication on the NHS. I should be allowed to do whatever I want because I have a hay fever allergy. And my allergy, it's mysterious. It's a mysterious allergy because I've had it a long time and I have it all year round, more or less. So I reckon that mine is not as simple as your basic sort of hay fever, I'm allergic to pollen, basic bitch allergy. With mine, there's something mysterious going on, you know? Because I know the pollen isn't out in force all year round, but as far as I'm concerned, if you're using me to tell, you'd think it was. I'm allergic to something else, something more common, something more everyday, possibly oxygen. I don't know. I don't know what it is exactly. All I know is that it's worse than any other condition, any other illness, any other disease. My hay fever is worse than it. I am special and I deserve to be treated as such. Anyone who doubts it, anyone who doubts how bad my hay fever is, it sounds silly to even call it hay fever, it's so bad. It should be called, I don't know, terminal pollinitis. Anyone who doubts how bad my allergies truly are, what they need to do is they need to check out the live stream that I tried to do yesterday and failed miserably because I was completely out of commission. I could barely speak. It felt like there were 1,000 bees inside my throat. And I pushed through for 40 minutes. But in the end, I had to literally abandon the live stream, which is embarrassing. I don't want to do that. But pollen got the better of me. Pollen, my mortal enemy. And that's kind of funny when you think about it, isn't it? That a person, a full-grown adult like me, can be taken down by a plant, something in a plant. And you have to start asking yourself, like, why? Like, haven't these plants, these trees, haven't they had billions of years to evolve and, you know, cater their pollen to their respective breeding partner? I'm stuck in the middle here. I'm always thinking, shouldn't this pollen be going to someone else? Shouldn't this be going to reproduce? Shouldn't a bee be taking this to another flower or something? I don't consent to this. I don't consent, thank you. Let's cancel trees, is what I'm trying to say. Let's cancel plants. Let's cancel trees because hay fever attacks are non-consensual. No one else is saying this. I'm the only person brave enough at the moment to say this kind of stuff. And that's why I think people respect this podcast, ultimately, because I speak my mind and I speak it mindfully. And I don't suffer fools gladly. Okay, let's talk about the week more generally. So, there was a bit of drama this week in the old BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, LLC. The BBC, LLC, T's and C's. You know, the BBC. I've spoken about the BBC before. They do loads of stuff. They do dramas, they do comedy, they do news. That's what we're going to be talking about, the sort of news side of the Beeb. That's another thing. In Britain, we usually shorten the BBC to the Beeb. I know there are a lot of Americans and Canadians now who, and not just them, you know, people all around the world who now have access to the BBC. And I hear them online, you know, I watch them reacting to things and, you know, they refer to it as the BBC. Listen, if you're trying to blend in over here, if you come over here on a holiday or you move over here or whatever, don't let any of us catch you calling it the BBC. You've got to call it the Beeb. The Beeb. Because that's the kind of fun, wacky nicknames that we like to give people. Some people even call it Auntie Beeb. There's this, and this is true, some people do refer to the BBC as their auntie. It's a sort of supposed to be like a kind of sweet, oh, it's Auntie Beeb. You know, she's been around ever since I was a kid. You can always rely on Auntie Beeb. But as we have learned through history, some aunties can be abusive, can be bad. Some aunties are not very nice. We've all got that one auntie who stinks of fags and pinches your face very hard. And then some people have an auntie who's like, you know, Myra Hindley. She was someone's auntie for a bit. So what I'm saying is, don't let cute nicknames fool you. So basically what happened this week, there was a little bit of controversy, all right, because this BBC news presenter, she was reporting a story about pregnancy, and the copy that she had been given, which, you know, if you're not an insider, copy means like a piece of paper with the words on it that you're supposed to read. Like it can literally mean like a photocopy. Well, this one was digitized. This one was on the teleprompter. If you don't know what a teleprompter is a sort of TV that words come up on, and if you work in the news, really, your job is sort of just to like read those words. You know, you'll be sitting there and they'll come up. I don't have one, but imagine that I did. So the teleprompter would be like behind the camera, and then the words would roll up, and then I'd go, today on the news, there's been a lot of trouble because a bin fell over and all of the rubbish fell out onto the floor. Over to you for the weather. And that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're not supposed to ad-lib. You're not supposed to, especially with the BBC, who are very particular about the way their news is delivered. It has to be factual. It has to be, it has to be right. They're taxpayer funded. They wouldn't like it if I was a newsreader and then I did it this way, right? Today on the news, a bin fell over. What's that all about? Can you imagine a bin falling over? And then all the rubbish went everywhere. Although London's such a shithole, isn't it? It's hard to tell which was the rubbish and which was just the regular clean London. Okay, over to you with the weather. Although we already know, don't we? Because it's rainy. The producers in the box, in watching it back, are going to be going, no, don't make your own opinions. We're supposed to be factual. Anyway, this news reporter, she didn't do that. She changed some of the inclusive language that was trying to be implemented, right, to be uninclusive, basically.
London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has released research which says that nearly 600 heat-related deaths are expected in the UK. Malcolm Mystery, who is involved in the research, says that the aged, pregnant people, women, and those with pre-existing health conditions need to take precautions.
BBC backs presenter who changed pregnant people to women on air. So I'm going to read this to you. This is an article from The Tab. I'm not 100% sure what that is. The BBC has backed news presenter Martine Croxall after she went viral. I mean, I guess she did go viral in the sense of like lots of people were sharing it around. But I don't know. I feel like there's a pretty low bar for going viral these days. Viral used to be like, it had to be significant. It had to be like, Charlie bit my finger. Ow, Charlie. Ow. That was going viral. Chocolate rain. That's viral. This is, maybe it kind of went viral, but it's not the kind of thing you're going to share with your friends at work for a laugh, Unless you work in a transphobia factory. The moment quickly caught attention over the weekend. It was after Croxall appeared to pause, correct the wording mid-sentence, and give a subtle eye roll. The incident took place while she was quoting Dr. Malcolm Mystery. That's a good name, isn't it? Dr. Malcolm Mystery? Is that your real name, Dr. Malcolm? A researcher from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. So first off, this has nothing to do with trans people. This isn't an article about trans people. A news report about this isn't about the trans panic. It's not. This isn't culture wars. Dr. Malcolm had used the phrase pregnant people in a study about heat waves and health risks, which is very relevant because we're having a heat wave right now. I'm in it, and that's why I'm drinking water. Can I just say, actually, if you haven't been getting your water, your regular 5, how many are you supposed to have? 9, 100 glasses of water, whatever it, don't drink 100 glasses of water. You can die if you drink too much water. But you're supposed to drink lots of water. I really struggle with drinking water because it's not that I don't like water, it's just that I prefer fizzy drinks more. But I'm really trying to drink more water at the moment, especially in this gosh darn heat. Anyway, the point is, you should drink water. Just don't drink too much water because you can die if you drink too much. But you'd have to drink a lot in order to die. But still try to drink some. So anyway, she was reporting on this story from a report that a scientist person wrote. And in the scientist's report, they used the term pregnant people. Okay? And then this news reporter was so annoyed about it, so put out about the erasure of women, that she changed it on the fly to be women. Now, she's being praised for this. Lots of people are, treating it like, finally, after this Supreme Court ruling, staff within the BBC are finally waking up from this woke nonsense. And they're brave enough, or should I say emboldened enough, to correct things like this. Well, firstly, as I said, she's supposed to be reporting on an article that she didn't write, so she's supposed to be quoting it. She surely has a journalistic responsibility to quote accurately what is written in the article, because otherwise she's creating the misinformation. She's kind of spreading misinformation and creating the assumption that isn't what this scientist wrote. But secondly, and probably most importantly, in my opinion, is this whole thing about the term pregnant people. Oh my God, it's so offensive saying pregnant people. Don't call me a person. I'm not a person. I'm a woman, not a person. In fact, I get offended when people call me a person because I'm not. I'm a woman. Women aren't people, so don't call me a person. Call me a woman. Like, do you see how kind of silly it really is? Ultimately, it's so stupid, right? Because at the end of the day, all these organizations or whoever, elects to use the word pregnant people, all they're really trying to do is bring in people who might not identify with the word woman. Okay? And who could that be? Trans men. Shout out to my trans men. I know I talk a lot on here about trans women and trans women's issues. And, people have said in the comments, you talk a lot about trans women's issues. Are you going to talk about trans men? Sometimes I will. The thing is, I am a trans woman. So I mainly like to talk about, things that I can directly talk on. But I still want you to know that you're welcome here and that I love you and that, keep calling me out on my nonsense. And I'll give you a shout out every now and then like this. So, trans men, right? Trans men obviously encounter some of the same issues that cis women might encounter from a medical perspective. And so as a result of that, it's important that they understand and feel safe to go to the doctors, and feel confident that they're going to be welcomed and that there's going to be understanding offered to them, and that they're not going to just be treated in a way that delegitimizes their very real, very fought for identity. But as usual, you've got a whole bunch of people who get really bent out of shape at any sort of kind of attempt to reframe the language, because to them, the idea of pregnancy is an intrinsically female/woman experience, right? Like, to them, it's almost verging on, it's sort of like mystical. It's barefoot and pregnant. I don't know, sometimes I feel like there's a real sort of like hippy-dippy-ish element to it, and they don't like to think about the idea that there are other people out there who have other experiences, and yes, they are a minority, but it just might be nice if occasionally large institutions tried to acknowledge their existence. But when people come out like this and kind of roll their eyes or even speak outwardly about this with kind of like disgust, and try to claim that the word woman is being erased, as if like the two can't actually exist in tandem with each other, it really does kind of like, I mean, it makes the person, I'm just going to be real, it makes you look like a dick. Ultimately, that's what it does. It makes you look like a petty, vindictive, exclusionary, babyish little dick. And I think at the moment, we just have a lot of people out there who don't mind coming off as a dick. We're in the dick time. We're in dick summer. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's just everybody's just a piece of shit now, aren't they? Everybody is just a piece of shit, and they're just like, deal with it. I don't know what happened, but somewhere in COVID, like, people's brains sort of snapped in half, and a lot of people just kind of went, well, I'm going to be a piece of shit now, and you're just going to have to deal with it. You're just going to have to deal with me. And listen, I'm not perfect. God knows I'm not perfect. I can be a piece of shit sometimes, but I'm not out here actively trying to be a piece of shit. Sometimes I'll catch myself being a piece of shit, and I'll think, oh no, I should dial it back a little bit. I'm being a bit of a piece of shit, and I don't actually want everyone to think I'm a piece of shit all the time. But there's a lot of people out there at the moment who are just kind of like, they're just at peace with it. They're just comfortable with the idea of being a piece of shit. And in fact, they've tried it and they like it. And they kind of want to die and have "I was a piece of shit" on their tombstone. Which is fine. If that's what you want, you can have that. But I kind of don't want that for myself. I can be a piece of shit, but I'm trying, basically. And I thought we should all be trying, but I guess not. The clip went viral soon after, with people such as, surprise, surprise, guess who it is? It's J.K. Rowling. Do you know who she is? We never talk about J.K. Rowling here. I actually kind of do resent the fact that I have to talk about her all the time, but she always comes up in these things. Like, it doesn't matter what the issue is about. If trans people are related in some way, someone's going to get J.K. Rowling's opinion on it, which is bizarre, because she seems to have become a spokeswoman for the anti-trans movement. And as a result, people think, wow, well, we've got to get her point of view on this issue. But it's like, why? Why do you have to get her point of view? Like, what does she have to do with this, really? Do we really need to give her more attention? Should I be giving her more attention now? I'm not really sure. I don't know. Sometimes I think we should stop talking about her altogether. I wrote an article about that once where I was like, let's just stop talking about her. But it's kind of hard to stop, because she's everywhere, You lift up your rug and she's under there. You try to you open your drawer to kind of get your clean clothes out, she pops up. She is ubiquitous. What did you call me? I said ubiquitous. The clip went viral soon after, with people such as J.K. Rowling jumping in to praise Croxall. Oh, so now she's a person. Sorry, did you just say with people such as J.K. Rowling? Sorry, did you just refer to J.K. Rowling as a people? As a person? She's not a person. She's a woman. And women aren't people, remember? with people such as J.K. Rowling jumping in to praise Croxall. Rowling had previously shown support in the Supreme Court ruling on trans issues, and now she said she had found her new favourite BBC presenter. Who the hell? Who, tell me, has a favourite BBC news presenter? That is dumb. Have a favourite actor, have a favourite writer, director, a favourite news presenter. What are you, a nerd? You big fucking nerd? That's weird. We need to look into J.K. Rowling and get some questions. In her bedroom, is there just pictures of newsreaders all over the walls? That's concerning. I bet J.K. Rowling has a special room in her house where she goes in and there's a whole news studio set up, and she sits there and she sits at the desk and she goes, "I'm J.K. Rowling, and in the news today, all trans people are not here anymore. They're all dead, and it's a great day, and I'm also the Prime Minister now. Ha ha ha. Over to you, Julie Bindel / Birchill for the weather." And then Julie Bindel and Julie Birchill do a joint weather forecast through the medium of dance. She also added, "You'd better not be in any trouble." Or what, Joanne? Or what? I'm sorry, what are you going to do? I mean, she obviously isn't in trouble because the BBC clearly doesn't really give much of a shit about trans people anyway. But, if they did reprimand this newsreader, Martine Croxall, or whatever her name is, if they did, what the hell is J.K. Rowling going to do about it? Sorry, is J.K. Rowling the new commissioning editor of the BBC? Is that why their programmes aren't as interesting as they used to be? Is that why some of them are quite badly written at the moment? Is that why? Because you know who, the cat's mother has been involved. That's the thing about J.K. Rowling. She just thinks she's the queen now. She's decided she's the queen. She's the queen, and you just gotta go by everything that she says. And you know why? Because she once wrote a story about a little ugly baby that, I don't know, survived a car crash or whatever. I don't know the story of Harry Potter. I think it's about an ugly baby that survived a car crash, and then I know there are these creatures called Dobbies, and I think the 50 Dobbies raise Harry Potter in a castle and teach him the meaning of love through yoga. I don't know the story. However, according to Deadline, the BBC has made it clear that Croxall isn't facing any reprimand. According to a BBC News insider, BBC Deep Throat alert, she wasn't correcting an internal BBC script. The corporation's style guide doesn't require presenters to use the term pregnant people. Another source added that given the recent UK Supreme Court ruling, the broader mood within the BBC may be shifting. So, as I said, ages ago, basically the Supreme Court ruling, what it's doing, one of the effects that it's having, is it's emboldening transphobic people to more openly be pieces of shit publicly. I mean, that's not good news. That's something we should worry about. That's something that we should keep an eye on. Oh, what's that? The broader mood of the BBC is shifting. Wow. Great. Looking forward to that one. In fact, at the time of the ruling, the BBC said, BBC News is assessing the ruling to consider any updates which might need to be made to the style guide as a result. Croxall has since posted on X, or, Twitter, as we all used to call it when it was relevant and not insanely racist. Croxall has since posted on X thanking people for their support. She said, "A huge thank you to everyone who has chosen to follow me today for whatever reason. It's been quite a ride." And I'm just thinking, come on, girl. You know why people are following you. You're a newsreader. You're not exactly Chapel Roan. You're not Lady Gaga. People are following you because you have exhibited a tendency towards gender criticalism. And everyone is jumping on it and going, yay, another one for the club, for the cult. J.K. Rowling, she's rubbing her hands going, oh, yes, an insider, someone within the BBC that I can ensnare. Or whatever, who knows how her brain works. Not well. I just feel like people like this Martina Croxwell, I just think like, if you want to be putting your own opinions in there, maybe you should be starting a podcast like this. Come to podcasting. You can be as transphobic as you want here. And actually, it's a benefit. If you're transphobic, you get way more views. I mean, like, I'm happy with my views and everything, but I know that if I, took a left turn into the right, ironically, if I started being very, very transphobic on here, my views would go up crazy. I'll show you. I'll do it now. This is just a warning for anybody watching. Just so you know, I'm not transphobic. Okay, in fact, I am trans. And I'm not one of these transphobic trans people, but just for the purposes of demonstration, just for the experimental scientific nature of it all, I'm going to show you now how easy it is to do it. Consider it like a magic trick. So I'm going to kind of, here we go. Oh, I really don't like trans people anymore. They're so annoying, aren't they? They are such idiots. And I've had it up to here with them. I'll tell you, I can't stand it anymore. I mean, come on. What is that flag? What is that flag all about? Oh, it's a bit pink, it's a bit blue, and then there's white in the middle. Like, what is this, a Neapolitan ice cream? What am I supposed to do with this flag? Eat it? What flavours is that? Blueberry, vanilla, and kind of weak strawberry? End scene. See? It's actually quite easy. And if I'd clipped that, I'm not going to do it. And I don't want any of you to clip that and post it online as proof that I'm transphobic. I don't want you to do that. That is something that would be a nightmare for me. If someone was to take that little rant there, clip it, put it online with the title Jen Ives, brackets Lobotomy World, goes on transphobic rant. That would be my worst nightmare, and I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So don't do that. Don't. I said don't do that. Let's talk about M3GAN. Not Megan Fox. Not Megan. What other M3GANs are there? Let me type famous M3GAN. How could not Megan Thee Stallion? How could I forget about Megan Thee Stallion? But M3GAN the robot, that's kind of like Chucky, but like a girl version of Chucky. She's a robot, and she kills people and does a funny dance. M3GAN where it's spelt with a 3. It's like instead of an E, there's a 3 where the E should be. You've heard of it. It's a big movie. They've just made a sequel called M3GAN 2.0. And that's exciting, because I like how sort of like there's a 3 in the main name, Megan. There's a 3, and then you have 2.0. So it's like something kind of confusing there, I guess. There's a lot of numbers involved. It's a very number-heavy franchise, and you can call it a franchise now because there's multiple ones of them. Let me read out this M3GAN 2 synopsis. This is from the Wikipedia of M3GAN. M3GAN 2.0, pronounced M3GAN 2.0, thank you Wikipedia, is a 2025 American science fiction action film. No mention of horror there. That's weird because, like, I saw the first one and, it wasn't like, it was a bit of fun. Sometimes you go to the cinema and you just want to have a bit of fun. And there was a lot of M3GAN hype at the time, and I saw it and I did enjoy it. I didn't leave the cinema going, that's the best movie I've ever seen. I can't wait for, I wasn't jonesing for M3GAN 2.0. But I did, I thought it was fun. I liked the character. It was very silly. It was just kind of like an ex machina for teenagers. And there's nothing wrong with that, One thing about M3GAN 1, though, is that I felt like it was kind of going for a sort of horror vibe in places. It was tonally all over the place, but I thought it was going for a kind of horror vibe. That's my opinion. If you don't like it, you can go outside. Get out of here. But one area where I felt kind of disappointed with M3GAN, or M3GAN, that's how Boris Johnson would say it, M3GAN, was that I felt like it didn't fully commit hard enough to the horror aspects, I guess. This is a spoiler for M3GAN, the first one, if you haven't seen it. In M3GAN, there's one really good bit in it that I think is like the standout bit, right? There's a bit when this little boy is like bullying the little girl that M3GAN is sort of like the protector of. And they're all kids, obviously, except the robot, but she looks like a kid. Anyway, M3GAN obviously sees this kid bullying this girl that she is the guardian robotic AI angel of. And she pushes this little boy down a hillside. The boy, who's a child, gets hit by a car, and dies. He dies. And I was like, this is good. This is what I want from a film like this. Because a lot of these sort of like, modern horror movies that are aimed at sort of a teenage audience, and listen, there's a place for them. But when I was a teenager, even the horror movies that were aimed at teenagers, they were very macabre. They were very dark. It was your kind of Final Destinations and things like that. It was scary. People died, whatever. And that, as far as I am aware, and as far as I can remember, is the only point in M3GAN 1 that felt truly transgressive to me. I was like, oh, she's killing kids. That's how hardcore she is. And I just thought it was really cool. Not that I'm pro killing kids, I'm really not. But if you're trying to write a screenplay about a psychotic, murdering robot that looks like a little girl, have her kill some kids. They were killing kids all the time in horror movies in the 80s and 90s. Kids were dying. All of those slasher movies are essentially about kids getting killed. Let's kill kids in films, not in real life. I don't want to see any kids getting killed in real life. And you can quote me on that one. And the rest of the movie was just kind of like a bit wishy-washy. It was like, oh, okay. It became an action movie. It's written and directed by Jared Johnston, from a story by Johnston and Akela Cooper. A sequel to M3GAN, the plot... Okay, here we go. The plot follows M3GAN being rebuilt to combat a humanoid military robot built using M3GAN's technology that is attempting an AI takeover. Okay, that's topical. That's topical stuff. Because AI is all kind of... Everyone's talking about it right now. People have AI fever. It's AI mania right now. And although I thought M3GAN herself was AI, in the first one she's like an advanced AI. Like she has to be. She has some artificial intelligence. But I guess there's an AI that's come about that is more evil even than her. It's a bit like in Terminator when you have like Terminators and they start off evil, but then they sort of become good because there's a worse Terminator. In fact, that is Terminator, isn't it? In the first Terminator, the Arnie Terminator was the bad Terminator, like the villain of the piece. And then in the second Terminator, Terminator 2 Reloaded, brackets terminate this, in that one, which is a great movie if you haven't seen Terminator 2, brackets terminate this, you should see it. In that, there's another Terminator, a liquid Terminator, who, well, he's like liquid metal. He's scary. He kills people with a big spike through their head. Anyway, Arnie becomes the hero because he then has to protect the kid. And then Terminator 3, they have a girl bot, like a robot of a woman who is a Terminator as well. And she's wearing red and she's like runs really fast. And Arnie wears a funny cowboy hat in one bit and star glasses. It's really funny. Anyway, the reason that I'm bringing up M3GAN at all, to be honest with you, you might be thinking like, why is Jen talking about M3GAN so much? What's all this? The reason why is because M3GAN's marketing campaign at the moment has been very, very pride-based, okay? Now listen, I know that like a lot of corporations, businesses, restaurants, companies, etc., they, everyone used to just jump on the pride train. It's pride, isn't it? You got to have the rainbow and everything like that. But I've never seen, as far as I'm aware, a film like this use pride to promote its film. And I kind of, dare I say, I kind of like it. Okay? I mean, listen, you have to be a little bit skeptical with this stuff always. You have to take it all with a pinch of salt. And yes, I said pinch of salt. I know Americans like to say a grain of salt, but I'm not letting that catch on. It's a pinch of salt. Like, can we talk about this actually just for a second? I am not one of those people. I'm not like a snob when it comes to the British language. I think the British language is a thing that should be changed. I think it should adapt. Just going back to the kind of, birthing person drama. But I do. I think, when people take the British language and modernize it and culturally have like different words and like all that kind of stuff, I love it. That's what it's about. Society changes. We have to adapt and we have to kind of like, embrace the creativity that comes with it. What I will say though is that there are some phrases that are fine how they are. And a pinch of salt, taking something with a pinch of salt is fine. I know Americans think they're being like cool, edgy, mysterious by being like, no, we're going to say a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. But it kind of ruins it because it's like, well, no one does that. Like you won't take a grain of salt. Like you can't do that. Like you can't really, it's very difficult to pick up one singular grain of salt. You'd have to be like an ant for that to be easy. I don't think you are an ant. You're not an ant, as far as I'm aware. But a pinch of salt, you can do that. You can take things with a pinch of salt. Just stop saying it. It's annoying. Another one that I really don't like is addicting. Addicting. It's addicted. You are addicted to something. You can say it like you say, like, I'm so addicted to crack. Or less dark, you could say, I hear it. It's not just addictive. It's addictive. That's the word. Addictive. Like you would say like, oh, this cereal is really addictive. I really like this cereal. It's so addictive. I can't stop eating it. But Americans have got it in their head. They're like, it's so addicting. It's very addicting. It's what? Addicting? No, it's addictive. But to be honest with you, it's really not that big of a deal. You do you. It's your country. You've proven that. Oh God, how you've proven that one. Anyway, so M3GAN is using Pride, the LGBT, etc., to promote its new film because they know that if there's one thing the queers do love, it's a slay, boots the house down, mama, go off, queen, robot girl wielding a knife. It's like all of the ingredients are there. They would be really stupid not to take that opportunity. We love a problematic queen. But the thing that really pushed this over the edge for me is that I saw a post that was referring to M3GAN. It was an interview with the robot M3GAN, who I thought didn't exist. I thought she was a character from a film, but no, they interviewed her, the killing robot, the robot who brutally murdered a child in the first movie. They asked her what she thought of the trans rights of trans people. And I'm going to tell you what she said. So this article here is from The Hollywood Reporter. So it says here, queer audiences propelled the 2023 thriller to cult status and box office glory. The sequel rewards them with an extra dose of camp. And listen, we do love camp. We love it. I love camp. One of my favourite films, Showgirls, very camp. Anything by John Waters, extremely camp. I'm probably gonna see this movie because I've seen the first one, so I feel like I'm on board now. So I'm gonna follow the second one. I hope it's very camp. I'll be the judge of it though. I'll let them know if it's not camp. I'll go to war with M3GAN online. The marketing campaign for M3GAN 2.0, which opens June 27th, I mean, this isn't a paid ad for it, just so you know. I don't care if you go and see it or not, because they haven't given me any money to promote their stupid film. In fact, don't go and see it. Is seeking to woo the original's gay audience back to theatres, ideally with even more of their friends, and some heterosexual women too. In a bit of a strategic counter-programming, M3GAN 2.0's release date places the PG-13 horror sequel opposite the Apple Warner Brothers Brad Pitt racing film F1, smack in the middle of a box office release. So basically it's M3GAN versus F1. That's the story, okay? The car versus the robot. Who will win? You've got a car, the F1 car, versus the robot, the gay rights robot. What did the F1 car ever do for the gays? Nothing. Just went around and round in circles. Who cares? Who's going to go and see F1? F1? I'll tell you what, here's my review. F that one. Am I going to go see F1? Is that what you're asking me? Let's do a sketch about that, okay? Like, hey, Jen, are you going to go and see F1? No. You can F that one. What do you mean F that? Like, fuck that. F1. If I wanted to watch a car go round and round and round and round and round in a circle for ages, I'd go to the flipping motorway and sit on a roundabout, wouldn't I? That's what I'd do. No, I would rather see M3GAN, a robot who kills children. The campaign for M3GAN 2.0 is playing to the original's fan base, with trailers featuring pop girl anthems like Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again, and Chapel Roan's Phenomenon, an Out magazine cover. So this is what I saw. I saw the Out magazine cover. And and a segment on RuPaul's Drag Race, and even a troupe of M3GAN dolls dancing in West Hollywood's Pride Parade. The main one that I saw was her talking about the trans community, so let's find that. So M3GAN trans. Hold on, I forgot to put the 3 in there. Okay, so this is an article from Pink News, referring to that out feature. Also, you're going to have to take all this with a grain of salt because this is Pink News. So, M3GAN, a certified gay icon, has a heartfelt message for trans fans ahead of the release of M3GAN 2.0. Since the release of the first film M3GAN in 2023, the killer doll has been honoured with gay icon status. Her reign continues as she's now a cover girl for gay lifestyle magazine Attitude. The outlet asked about her resonance with LGBTQ+ audiences, and the diva android was happy to talk directly to the queer fans while promoting her new audiobook, Me, Myself, and AI. In the interview, M3GAN discussed the importance of visibility and inclusivity. She also explored why she's using her platform to advocate for joy. Who's that then? Who's that? Do you know joy? Queer joy? Her platform to advocate for joy, identity, and self-expression within the LGBTQ+ community. Where's she going to get time doing that? She's got kids to kill. I mean, listen, I'm all for all of those things. But we've got people on it. You stick, M3GAN, to murdering horrible children. Dubbing it a M3GAN summer, Chet Hanks has a lot to answer for. M3GAN was asked why she thinks the queer community has embraced her. She responded, "Because I'm stunning, scary, and graceful. And because queer people have always had impeccable taste." I can't remember if that's how M3GAN sounds. It was something like that. She was then asked, again, a fictional killer doll. She was then asked, at this time when they need our support, what is your message to the dolls, aka our trans sisters? Transistors? Dolls? M3GAN replied, "To my beloved dolls, you are radiant, revolutionary, and real. Your existence is not a debate, and I will use my platform to amplify your beauty and power." You'd better do, M3GAN. You had better do, because you're referring to me. That's who you're referring to, okay? And I take these things extremely seriously. If somebody says that they're going to advocate for my community, I expect to see it. And if I don't see it, do you know what I do? I put on this camera, I make a podcast episode and I moan about it. Okay? I did it with Stephen Fry and I'll do it to you too. One of the things I was wondering about though is with all this is, does the film M3GAN 2.0 have any trans characters in it? Are there any trans people on the staff? You know, is the writer trans? Are there any trans camera people? And I don't know. I did a search. I couldn't find any trans people directly involved in M3GAN. And look, I appreciate the support generally. But if you do get to the point when you're making M3GAN 3.0, let's have a trans person in it. Or at least behind the camera. We can use, I mean, look, I'm filming this. I know how to use a camera. I'll do it. I'll be in it. Like, I'll be in M3GAN if you want me to. They say that you're supposed to put things out into the universe that you want. I want to be in M3GAN 3. I'll get killed in it. I'm happy to be killed in the film M3GAN 3. Anyway, I'm going to go see M3GAN. And I thought it would be fun if I made a little video kind of about going to see M3GAN and then giving my review of the new M3GAN film. And again, this isn't a paid sponsorship. I would be paying for M3GAN 2.0 out of my own hard-earned money. But that's the kind of things that I do as a small YouTuber, is that I have to. It would be, I mean, listen, if you're watching this and you're from the M3GAN 2.0 team, I think you should give me a free ticket to go and see it. Actually, that's a good way. That's a good take. That's a good workaround. Forget all the things I said about having a trans person in M3GAN 3. I don't care about that anymore. In fact, I don't want a trans person in M3GAN 3. Forget that. All I want is, if you care, Megan, so much about the trans community, the dolls, there's one right here and she wants to come and see the movie. So you should send me 2 free tickets to go and see M3GAN 2.0 with my boyfriend. And then I'll do a review of it. And if you don't, and this is my ultimatum, if you don't do that, well then, I guess you must be transphobic. One more thing that I want to say is that I know a lot of you maybe are not up to date with the law of this podcast. We're on episode 13 now, so there is a lot of established law already. One of the things we were talking about at one point was about poppy seed loaves. Bread with poppy seeds on it. Okay? I haven't seen a poppy seed loaf in years, and I love it. It's my favourite type of bread. You know what I'm talking about. It's like a bread, and it's got loads of, like, hundreds of thousands of poppy seeds on it. It's delicious. Well, not everybody forgot about that character arc, okay? Some of you out there have been giving me reports back about whether or not poppy seeds are still available. And, very kindly, Olivia Maynard, one of my first ever subscriber supporters on here, an old head, a long-term fan of this podcast, she did some incredible reporting, and that's what I'm calling it, journalistic, boots on the ground, in the field reporting, to see if they had poppy seed loaves in her local supermarket in America, where she is from. She's from America. And she tagged me in this video that she gave me permission to show on this podcast. So I'm going to show it now in full. Roll.
Hi, this is for Jen Ives. You had said you love poppy seed bread. And I had said my grocery store sells it. And lots of British stuff. So here it is, the poppy seed bagel. In this, I decided to have a British meal. So I got that bagel, and I got this H. Foreman smoked salmon, which is what this is. It's quite delicious. And it's the London Cure. I love the London Cure. There's so many jokes with that, because, the Cure. And then also, Cure egalitarian. That's kind of funny. It's transphobia. So I got the transphobic salmon. But then this stuff. This is some fancy mustard. Cartwright Butler English mustard. And I'll tell you, I wasn't super impressed by the salmon. It's good, but it's not like the best shit ever. With this mustard, it is the best shit ever. That is the yummiest sandwich ever. Ridgeway Blue, British. There is no British wine, they said. When there was also capers. I don't know if those count as British or not. They were bulk. But this was so yummy. Oh, and there is bread. I could post pictures if I figure out how to do that. I took pictures. I love it. I just don't know how to create YouTube videos very well. Hi. Bye.
So there you have it. It is still available if you're willing to go all the way to America, which I'm not, unfortunately, willing to do right now. I love poppy seed loaves, but I'm not going all the way to the flipping States. Not this time. Not with the way things are now. I've been looking around my local supermarkets. I looked in a couple today even. I still can't see it. I haven't seen a good poppy seed loaf in what feels like years. So if there's anyone out there from the UK who might have access to a place, specifically London, I live in London. If anyone in London knows where I can get a poppy seed loaf that's not too expensive, again, I'm welcoming more boots on the ground journalism. A little bit of housekeeping before I go, okay? A couple of weeks ago, maybe last week as well, I promoted the Lobotomy World Twitter account. I made an X account, and now that X account is an XX account because I deleted it. I was on Twitter for like 3 days, and it only took 3 days for me to remember how much of a putrid cesspit of transphobia and racism it is. So I deleted the account. But you should still continue to get in contact with me through YouTube and through Reddit. There is a Lobotomy World Reddit page. It's called Lobotomy World. Go on Reddit, type Lobotomy World. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's fun. You can, if you ever have a video that you want to share or something that you want to, want me to talk about or question or whatever, you should do it there. And don't pretend like you don't use Reddit. I know you nerds who like my podcast, you're all over Reddit. I've seen you. You can follow me on Instagram at M3GAN. Also, there is a Lobotomy World Instagram, and I'm trying to post on them more regularly now, so you should go follow that as well. That's lobotomy_world, because somebody already took Lobotomy World, and I think it might have been me when I tried to make a Lobotomy World Instagram account before, and now I can't log into it. As always, there will be a Lobotomy World extra episode releasing at the same time as this episode, which is exclusive to Patreon members and YouTube members. So join either the Patreon at patreon.com/lobotomyworld or join as a YouTube member right here, and then you'll have access to all of the cool members only videos, which there are quite a few of now. So, I mean, at the time of recording this, I don't know what this week's episode is about, but God knows it'll be about something good. You really are missing out if you're not checking out the Lobotomy World extra episodes. Some of them are arguably even better than these episodes, but not this episode. This one in particular that you're watching right now is especially good. I would be lying if I said I had no interest in video games, and I do play video games occasionally. One thing I do much more though is I consume television and films far more. I prefer a kind of passive experience than an active experience. I think that's what it is. I like films and TV because they kind of wash over you, and you just use your brain to sort of think about what it's about. Whereas games are like, do it, make it happen. If you enjoyed the podcast, give it a like, give it a subscribe, ring the bell, share the video with your friends and family. It all helps, guys. It all helps. Okay? It all helps. I can't say every little helps because that's already a thing. Every tiny bit helps. It all helps. You think it doesn't help, right? You're thinking like, oh no, I need to support you financially, whatever. But I can't. That helps, but also what helps is just sharing the video. There might be a Reddit page that you know about that you think would enjoy my videos, right? But I can't post in there because I don't have enough Reddit points. But you, being a Reddit nerd, you probably do have like 1 billion Reddit points, so you could post it in there for me. Just saying. I'm just saying. Alright everybody, thanks so much for watching. It's been a fun one this week. I really enjoyed it. I don't know about you. I had a great time. If I was me, I'd just watch it again. I'd just watch the whole video again if it was me. But it's not me as it is you, so you do whatever you want to do. Right, I'm gonna go have my dinner now. What are you having? I'm having hot dogs. That's American, isn't it? I'm having a hot dog. A ballpark frank. Alright. Have a good rest of your weekend. Whatever's left of it, am I right? And let's try to be inclusive. There's nothing wrong with inclusive language. Sometimes it's just nice to make somebody feel included. Somebody who otherwise wouldn't. One quick thing before I go about this inclusive language stuff, okay? I know myself, so I know that if a doctor's surgery sent me a letter that said, hey, Miss Ives, you are a trans woman, but you're getting to a certain age now and you might need to come and have certain checks, right? I'd be like, okay, that's fair. That's great. Thank you for validating my identity that I live every day. I'll come and have the checks to make sure my health is good. Whereas if they send me a letter that says, hey, tranny, you man, you got to come and have your prostate examined. You know what I'd say? I'd say, I'm alright, I'll pass, actually. Because I don't identify with that. So, like, I'll just, I'll ignore that problem psychologically and then maybe get prostate cancer and die. And listen, I know that's not like a cheery way to end the episode. I'm just saying inclusive language can bring more people to the table and it doesn't delete you. If you identify as a woman, then that's great. That doesn't go away when someone says, pregnant person. Because what's another pregnant person? A child. Sometimes, horrifically, sometimes children become pregnant. And that's bad. But we don't call them a woman, do we? We say pregnant person because we're trying to, anonymize them. Is that what you want? You want pregnant children to be called pregnant women? You sicko. Look, it just ain't that deep. Just get over it. You're acting like a big old baby, that's the thing. Okay, goodbye. I'm gonna go now. Bye.